So imagine an invading army just breaches your town.
Right.
They've breached the walls. They completely have the upper hand.
Oh, terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But they don't burn your house down. They don't, raid the treasury to steal your gold or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't even take the crops.
They just ignore all of it.
They walk right past all of that physical wealth, march straight into the center of the village, and they just spend hours chopping down a single massive tree
Wow.
because they know somehow that tree is the only thing actually keeping your community alive.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like high fantasy, right?
It really does. Yeah, like something from a movie.
But this is a very real historical military tactic. And it actually brings us perfectly to the concept we're unpacking today.
Right.
Because, it is incredibly easy to spend your entire day just looking at the leaves. I mean, think about your routine right now. You wake up, you check your emails, run to a meeting.
Yeah, run errands, yeah.
Exactly. All of those daily tasks, the endless to-do lists, those are the leaves of your life. And we spend so much time hyper-focused on maintaining that superficial canopy that we completely forget to look down.
We forget the root system.
Right. The roots keeping us grounded, or even the massive trunk of history and energy that's holding us up.
Yeah, it's the classic problem of losing the forest for the trees, or, well, I guess in this case, losing the roots for the leaves.
I like that.
And what we are exploring today is how this really simple, universal image of a tree bridges the gap between ancient cultural survival, your own personal growth, and even modern metaphysical energy balancing.
Which is quite a leap, but we're going to get there.
We are. Our deep dive today is drawing on some really fascinating concepts from the book, The Eternal Canopy, Healing Wisdom of the Chakra Tree. And it just forces us to look at the whole picture.
Yeah, because we aren't just looking at what the tree of life is as like a piece of art or a pendant on a necklace.
Exactly. We are digging into the actual mechanics of why it has endured across centuries as a functional map of how humans relate to the universe.
Right. And before we get into the ancient warriors or, the modern crystal healing stuff, we kind of have to establish the basic anatomy of the symbol itself.
We have to lay the groundwork.
Yeah. The core philosophy here is that a tree is the ultimate universal representation of growth and connection. I mean, think about how a young tree starts.
Very fragile.
Very fragile, really shallow roots. And to survive, it can't just keep growing taller. It has to push those roots deep into the dark, gritty dirt just to stabilize itself.
Right. While simultaneously, the branches are doing the exact opposite.
Right. They're reaching upward into the sky, into the light. It's pulling dense nourishment from Mother Earth below and then drawing light energy from the sun and the moon above. It's this constant active tension.
And that dual directional flow of energy is the crucial starting point. I mean, what's fascinating here is that the tree is constantly engaged in this massive silent exchange.
A silent exchange.
Yeah, it cannot survive if it only reaches up, and it cannot thrive if it only digs down. It requires both extremes. And this is a direct parallel to the human experience.
How so?
Well, a tree weathering storms grows physically stronger over time, just as a person does. The tension of being pulled in two directions, downward into the gritty, mundane reality of daily survival, and upward toward abstract thought or spirituality or higher knowledge. That tension is exactly what creates the strength of the human trunk.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because I get the biological parallel, but why a tree?
What do you mean?
Well, why didn't ancient humanity look at a massive, unmoving mountain and say, like, oh, that's the ultimate symbol of strength? Is it because, and tell me if I'm off base here, because like us, trees have to actively and physically reach for new knowledge.
Like the sun.
Right, the sun or fresh experiences, but they have to do that while staying firmly grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Because it feels like the ultimate metaphor for human learning. You can't just have your head in the clouds dreaming up ideas. You need a foundation.
That is spot on. Mountains don't grow. Right? And mountains don't adapt. A mountain is just static strength.
Right.
But a tree is dynamic strength. Every human being intrinsically understands the concept of needing a solid foundation to reach a higher height. You have to eat, sleep, and secure your physical safety, your roots.
Before you can write a symphony.
Exactly.
Well.
You need roots before you can write a symphony or ponder philosophy, which are your branches. And this abstract universal idea wasn't just some poetic metaphor.
No, it was very literal.
Very literal. It was applied in very specific life or death ways by ancient cultures who observed this dynamic strength and decided to harness it.
Which brings us back to that invading army and the ancient Celts.
Yeah.
Because when you dig into the history, the Celtic people had this incredibly deep connection to Mother Nature.
Oh, profound connection.
Yeah, for them, trees were absolutely not inanimate objects. And they weren't just building materials either. They were spiritual conduits.
They viewed them as literal connection points to their ancestors, to their deities, and, to the Celtic otherworld.
Right. And their worldview was just inseparable from the landscape.
Completely. When clearing land for a new settlement, they had this very specific, deliberate tradition. They wouldn't clear-cut an entire area just to maximize farming space.
Which is what we would do today.
Right, modern efficiency. But they would intentionally leave one massive central tree standing right in the middle of the clearing. They called this tree the Cran Bethod.
A Cran Bethod.
Yes. And the belief was that these special accumulated powers of this ancient tree would physically and spiritually care for the people.
Okay, wait, I need to push back here for a second.
Sure.
Because if this central tree was their literal weak point, leaving one giant tree standing sounds like a terrible tactical decision.
I mean, from a modern military perspective, sure.
Right. Why paint a giant target on your village? If your enemy knows that destroying this one piece of wood ruins your community, why build your entire civilization around it?
Because the psychological benefits far outweighed the tactical risks.
Well.
Yeah. If we look at the psychology of the Cran Bethod, that tree was a daily, towering, visual reminder of their collective strength and their lineage.
Okay, I can see that.
Think about the physical structure of a tree's canopy. The intricate network of branches visually represented how their family and ancestry expanded through the generations. They all stemmed from the exact same trunk.
Oh, wow. So they literally saw their family tree when they looked at it.
Exactly. So, to your point about the invading armies, yes, enemies knew to target the tree, but cutting that tree down wasn't just an act of vandalism.
It wasn't just property damage.
No, or even just a tactical strike. It was the ancient equivalent of cutting the server cables to an entire modern company, but on a spiritual level.
That is such a good analogy.
It was a calculated psychological severing of their connection to their ancestors and to the Earth's nourishing powers. It rendered the community totally powerless because their identity was intrinsically tied to that root system.
So it's severing the literal roots of the community. That is devastating.
It truly was.
And this reverence didn't just vanish into ancient history either.
Yeah.
You can actually see this enduring thread today in Irish country traditions where people still decorate certain trees with ribbons, honoring the earth and asking for blessings.
Yes, the rag trees. It's beautiful.
It's wild how deep that goes. But as much as this symbol is about massive macro-level community strength, our deep dive today pivots to something incredibly personal now.
Right, we're moving from the village to the individual.
Exactly.
And the awe that ancient cultures had for those towering, flawless-looking ancient trees naturally translates into how we understand our own personal journeys. But the focus shifts a bit here.
How so?
Well, when you look closely at a forest, you realize the tree of life symbolizes individuality simply because no two trees are exactly alike.
Right, they might start out looking like similar, identical little green saplings in a nursery.
Just perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah, but then life actually happens. Branches sprout at totally different points. Some go left to chase the light, some go right. And here's the detail that really stuck with me from the source text. Branches break off, new ones grow to replace them, and the weather takes a visible physical toll over time.
It leaves marks.
Yeah. But despite all of that damage, the tree remains strong and sturdy. It's a direct metaphor for human experiences.
It completely dismantles the myth of the pristine sapling. You know, we often think that a perfect life is one untouched by hardship.
Right. A smooth ride.
But a tree that never experiences wind grows weak, brittle wood. It literally falls over at the first real storm. The unique human experiences we go through, even the severely damaging ones, are what mold us and enhance our individuality.
I really want to focus on those broken branches for a second, because as a listener, if you think about the broken branches in your own history, you know, that job you didn't get, the relationship that failed, the cross-country move you were forced to make.
The painful moments.
Yeah. In our daily lives, we tend to view our broken branches as flaws. We think they ruin our symmetry. We try to hide them.
We cover them up.
Right. But if you look at an old oak tree, the place where a massive branch snapped off in a lightning storm is exactly the spot that forced the tree to grow in a completely new, unexpected direction.
Yes.
It developed thicker bark there, it adapted, Those scars don't ruin the tree. They're the exact things that make it totally unique. They're the proof that it survived.
What a profound way to look at it. True strength isn't about remaining an untouched, delicate sprout. It's about weathering the storms and wearing those changes, those broken branches, as a literal badge of individuality.
A badge of individuality, yeah.
Over time, trees gain more unique characteristics. They don't become more generic, they become more themselves. And that is exactly what human growth looks like. We don't strive to remain blank slates. We are shaped by the weather of our lives.
Okay, I'm tracking completely with the history and the psychology here. It's beautiful. But let's jump to the modern day, because this is where the source material takes a very sharp turn.
A very sharp turn.
Yeah. We go from ancient Celtic warriors dying to protect a giant oak, to a beautiful psychological metaphor about our personal trauma, to a tiny gemstone tree sitting next to my computer keyboard.
The chakra tree of life.
Right. And I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical here. I mean, how does a rock on a wire balance anything?
I get it. It does seem like a massive leap, moving from the abstract symbolism of a massive forest to a tangible desk ornament.
It's a bit jarring.
But the chakra tree of life is a physical object. It's a miniature tree made of natural gemstones and crystals twisted into copper wire branches. And the concept here relies heavily on feng shui.
Which is the art of balancing space.
Exactly. It's the ancient art of arranging your living space to create balance and harmony, allowing qi or life force energy to flow freely.
Right. And it's known in feng shui as the good luck tree. You place it in your living room or on your desk at work. It supposedly attracts positive energy, good fortune, wealth, growth, and stability.
It covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, people use it to increase money luck or bring opportunities from helpful people in their career while, ridding an area of negative energy. But let's be real.
Okay.
Placing a crystal tree next to my keyboard isn't going to magically answer my emails or force my boss to give me a raise.
No, it won't do your work for you.
So what is the actual mechanism here? It's acting like a mini antenna, isn't it?
A mini antenna is actually an excellent analogy. Let's break down the mechanics of how this is believed to work rather than just stating that it does.
Okay, please do.
The physical trees feature 7 chakra stones. In ancient healing traditions, the chakras are viewed as 7 distinct energy nodes running up the human body, from the base of the spine all the way up to the top of the head.
Okay.
Think of them as intersections on a highway. If there's an accident at one intersection, traffic backs up everywhere.
Ah, so a blockage in the roots affects the leaves.
Exactly. And crystals, on a purely molecular level, have highly ordered, repeating lattice structures.
They're very stable.
Very stable. So in the metaphysical view, this stable physical structure allows crystals to act almost like tuning forks.
Tuning forks.
Yeah, when you strike a tuning fork, it vibrates at a specific unwavering frequency. If you bring another object near it, that object will start to resonate at the exact same frequency.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right. The 7 chakra stones like amethyst, lapis lazuli, or clear quartz are believed to hold specific energetic frequencies that correspond to those 7 intersections in the human body.
Ah, okay. So it's not that the rock is magically printing money for you.
No.
It's that having this physical, highly ordered tool in your space provides a visual and energetic blueprint for your own internal chaotic system.
Yes, beautifully said.
So you're staring at a stressful spreadsheet, you're overwhelmed, you look at the tree, and it acts as an anchor. It reminds your body's energy to flow like the sap in a tree, pulling up from the roots, reaching for the light, rather than getting bottlenecked by your modern anxiety.
Precisely. You are using the physical crystal tree to help release blockages in your own personal roots and branches. It's a mirror.
It mirrors the flow of spiritual energy.
Yeah.
You are tuning your internal chaotic frequency to the stable, grounded frequency of the tree.
Which perfectly sets up the final and honestly the most intense part of our deep dive today.
It gets deep here.
It really does. Because having a crystal tree on your desk to tune your frequency and maybe get a little career luck is great. But the concepts in the Eternal Canopy reveal that this entire process is ultimately pointing toward a much higher goal.
A much higher goal.
Yeah, it's not just about a better office vibe. It's about spiritual awakening and reaching a balanced state of higher consciousness.
Yes, this is exactly where we elevate the symbol from a psychological metaphor or, a lucky charm into a sacred metaphysical symbol of our connection to the divine.
Okay, let's unpack some of the dense metaphysical jargon here because the text gets pretty heavy.
It does.
The underlying philosophy states that clearing and activating the chakras happens in our physical and 4th dimensional solar spine.
And when we connect deeply to the planet's consciousness and the sun, it creates a divine explosion of light that awakens us to our true identity.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. I'm going to need an ELI 5, explain, like I'm 5 for fourth dimensional solar spine.
I can do that. It is dense phrasing. Let's translate it. Think of the fourth dimensional solar spine, not as a literal physical set of bones in your back, but as the invisible electrical wiring of your house.
Okay, electrical wiring.
When we talk about dimensions here, the third dimension is our physical survival, eating, sleeping, paying rent. The fourth dimension involves time, consciousness, and energy. So this spine is your energetic core, aligned from your root to your crown.
So if the main breaker in my house is tripped, the lights won't turn on no matter how many times I flip the switch in the living room.
That is the absolute perfect way to look at it. If your internal wiring is blocked by trauma, stress, or just a lack of grounding, the energy can't flow.
The breaker's tripped.
Right. Aligning this solar spine is just flipping that main breaker so energy can travel from your feet to your head without hitting a short circuit. Remember earlier when we talked about the dual directional flow?
The physical tree's roots pulling from the earth and the branches reaching for the sun.
Exactly.
With a massive silent exchange.
When a human being successfully mirrors that biological process, when you are deeply grounded in the gritty reality of life, but completely open to higher knowledge and empathy, you clear your own internal wiring.
You flip the breaker.
Yes. The energy from the earth and the energy from the universe can finally meet within you without short-circuiting. That meeting point, that sudden clarity where everything flows perfectly, is exactly what the text calls the divine explosion of light.
It's the ultimate aha moment. It's when the lights finally come back on in the house.
Exactly.
And here's where I think the whole concept lands the plane beautifully. It means the entire point of balancing your energy, the whole point of the feng shui and the crystal tuning forks, isn't just to hoard good luck.
No, not at all.
You don't build a beautiful tree just to admire the trunk. A healthy tree naturally gives its fruits. And just like that, reaching this state of higher consciousness inevitably leads you to give your service to the evolving consciousness of humanity.
Yes.
You balance your energy, you ground your roots, specifically so you can finally drop fruit for others.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it just beautifully synthesizes everything we've discussed today. This is called the divine exchange.
The divine exchange.
It is the ultimate balance. Think about it. A tree doesn't eat its own apples. You aren't meant to be a sinkhole for energy and good fortune. You draw nourishment up from the earth, you pull light down from the sky, you process it, you grow strong, and then you give the excess back.
You feed the people around you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Profound joy and unconditional love occur when we stop trying to hoard our leaves and instead become a conduit for this exchange.
It's a perfect continuous loop. So, looking back at our entire deep dive today, we started with the ancient Celtic cranbethod, this massive literal tree that served as the server hub for an entire village, protecting them and connecting them to their ancestors.
Right.
Then we zoomed in to look at the unique, weather-beaten, broken branches of our own individual lives, realizing that our scars aren't flaws. They're the exact adaptations that make us uniquely strong.
The badges of individuality.
Yeah. From there, we brought that ancient energy indoors, understanding how a miniature gemstone chakra tree on a desk acts like a tuning fork to balance our internal chi and clear our blocked wiring.
Flipping the breaker.
Exactly. And finally, we realized that the ultimate goal of all that grounding and reaching is to connect to the divine, flip the breaker, and then give the fruits of our growth back to humanity. It really makes you look at the trees outside your window a little differently, doesn't it?
It completely shifts your perspective from seeing them as just landscaping to seeing them as actual teachers. We learned that higher consciousness is inextricably linked to tangible service.
Beautifully said.
So, keeping that in mind, I want to leave you with this final thought. If your unique experiences, those painful, broken branches and weathered storms we talked about, have adapted and shaped you into a completely one-of-a-kind tree, what specific unique fruit are you uniquely equipped to drop for the people around you today?